Friends, what we are going to talk today is about insurance in India, and unit link insurance policies is largely what we will be talking today. So insurance is actually quite an interesting topic, and there are so many things into insurance which there are, I would say, there are a lot of misconceptions about insurance which are prevailed in the people's mind about the use of insurance, the way it is being used. And yes, we also have a lot of perceptions about insurance because of the way it is being sold in India, or the way it is being sold by a few set of people in India. So we will briefly be talking on insurance, what is the concept of insurance, how it started, a brief history on what insurance was, and where can we find the roots of insurance in the history of India and the world. The role of Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, which is the apex body for regulation of insurance in India. What are the various types of insurance? Then we will specifically focus on life insurance, because it is one of that type of life insurance which is ULIP, which we have to be discussing on. We will understand what a ULIP plan is, what their advantages are, what are their cost structure, what is a return investment strategy, and couple of things related to ULIP. And always the comparison with the mutual funds, which is very prevalent in the market. So people would always say, is it better to invest in a mutual fund or to invest in a ULIP? So we will also address that question and get a clarification. So the reason for the clarification is also to understand on again clarifying the concept, the broader concept of mutual funds and structured financial products used for investments. Now if we get into a typical definition of insurance, so insurance globally is something which is like a common term. If I say in US and say insurance, so there are a lot of commercial terms which in the world are different at times. The financial years are different, the commercial definition of a contract may be different in various countries, the definition of certain programs or education may be different. Somebody say a school, somebody say a college. So there are a lot of terms, commercial terms and terminologies which are different from one country to other country based on the use and applications and other things. But luckily insurance is that one of the thing which is like, anyway, any part of the world you go and say I want an insurance, they will understand what insurance is basically. So technically, if you understand the definition, it says an arrangement by a company or a state. Okay, this is the first part. It undertakes to provide a guarantee. This is the second part. So first part is an arrangement by the company or a state. Second part is undertakes to provide a guarantee. This is the second part of compensation for loss, damage, illness or death. This is the third part. And in return of the payment of a specified premium, it's a fourth part. So if you have to break it into four things, one, we can say it is something which is done by a company or the state. State means the administration of a certain country or the land. Then second part is, which means a certain company or a state is taking a guarantee. Okay, they're taking a guarantee. They're taking guarantee of what? They're taking guarantee of any loss you make. They're taking guarantee of any damage which you may face. They're taking guarantee of any illness, and they're also taking guarantee of your death. And the fourth part is in return of a payment of a specified premium, which is the person whose guarantee they are taking will pay the premium. So insurance is also a kind of a contract. So initially it was termed as a contract. So insurance is a type of a contract, and it is a contract between the insurer, which is the person who is insuring, and the person who is getting insured. So if you understand law, in a contract act, it is said that consideration, no contract, any contract without consideration is void. Okay, this is as per the contract act. So contract act says that any contract contract is a mutual agreement between two people, uh, and it's an so you know, let's let me also let you know what a contract basically means. You'll get a better clarity on what a insurance can be. So contract is basically, it happens between two people. The two people have their own set of things to do. So let's say for instance, A enters into a contract with B, and he says that I will buy your house at 50,000 rupees, and I will make the payment of the money before 15th of this month, and then I will become the owner of the house. In case you fail to give me the house, I may have legal action against you. So basically this is a kind of a contract. So a contract between two people has a consideration. Consideration is something which is in return from both the ends. There is a time frame, which is a period of time or the tenure. It has the ramifications, which is the responsibilities of both the parties. It has a legal recourse. Legal recourse means in case any issue happens, what is the legal remedy for it. So this is a typical kind of a contract. In the similar manner, an insurance contract is a contract between either a company or the state and the person who is paying the premium. Okay, this is contract between these two people. The consideration from the person who is paying the premium is the compensation of the loss, damage or illness or death. Okay, so if I am paying the premium, then I get a compensation if I make a loss, damage, illness or death for the purpose of the contract. And on the other hand, this person, they are taking the premium and they are giving me a guarantee. Okay, so this is a typical definition of insurance, and I just tried to break it up. It's not as complicated as we are talking or as it is written. It is very simple, but the reason to make you understand is we get a better clarity on what a contract is and what an insurance contract is. So later on, this thing is being simplified into, you know, indemnity. So indemnity is a special kind of a contract, and indemnity means, indemnify means guarantee. So I indemnify on your risk. So this is a special kind of a contract. So later on, initially it was all under the Contracts Act, but now insurance is considered to be a indemnity. So indemnity means I get a cover. I get a cover of my risk. So a company, so the insurance company is the insurer. They would give you the cover of your risk, and the cover of the risk would be given to the person who is paying the premium. Okay, this is the insured. So insured would pay the premium to the insurer. Insurance will ensure that he is providing a risk coverage to the insurer. So the consideration for insured is the risk coverage. Consideration for the insurer is the premium. So what does insurance company gets in covering the risk of an insured person? They get the premium. And what does insured get in paying the premium? He gets the risk coverage. So let me give you an example. We all know recently we have this popular motor insurance. As per the Supreme Court Act, it is compulsory for every vehicle to have a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler or an auto insurance and a third-party liability insurance. What does it mean? That, you know, if my vehicle, if I have an insurance of 50,000 on the value of my vehicle, and if my insurance, and if my vehicle is lost or if my vehicle is stolen, then, you know, the insurance company will pay me the amount of the thing which is stolen, right? So that is the insurance, that they are insuring me, they are guaranteeing me that they will take care of it. Now what happens at times is insurance is more in the risk coverage. Now let's say for instance, we all know currently that agriculture insurance is the next big thing, and agriculture insurance is being given to our farmers. So what is the risk that a farmer may have? Okay, so let's assume you all are farmers and we all are farmers. So what is the risk a farmer has? So, you know, the cycle of farming is I have to tilt my land, and then I have to sow my seeds, then again I have to tilt my land, then I have to put the fertilizer, I have to put the water, I have to cultivate it on a regular period, and after couple of weeks or couple of months, then I get the produce. Okay, so from the time of sowing to getting the produce, and then after you get the produce, you have to then properly collect it, properly warehouse it, and then logistically transport it to the market, and then you make money. So in the business of agriculture, the farmer realizes the money only when the agriculture produce is sold. Now what are the various risks involved into this aspect of business of agriculture? So there is a risk involved that the seeds which they have sown, there are insecticides, and they, so you know that insects will ensure that the seeds are not grown, so the farmer may have a risk. The second risk can be there is unnatural weather conditions. We are seeing that, you know, anytime there is heavy rain which comes, we are recently seeing there is a issue of teed, you know, there is a which are like helicopters kind of insects which are in the part of Rajasthan and even in the North Gujarat part. So they attack the entire farms and they destroy the produce. There are certain animals who run away on the vehicle produce. So there is this problem going in the central Gujarat, which is for Nilgai, and they just run away your entire farm and they destroy the produce. Then there is a problem in the logistics. Maybe you are transporting from a truck and the truck meets an accident and your entire agriculture produce is gone. So these are the various risks into the business cycle of the farmer. Now if he has a proper insurance of his business or of his activities, then maybe if there is an unwanted rain and his produce or his crops are destroyed, then because the farmer is the insured, the farmer would have paid the premium to the insurance company to cover the risk of his agriculture. He will be given the compensation, right? So I hope I have been able to simplify and make you understand the concept of insurance. I took the example of farming and agriculture because that is something which is a very complex measure, you know. So farming or agriculture insurance is very complex to understand. Let us understand on the insurance history. So you know, if we talk of insurance, so insured or basic, the concept means to safeguard from future risk. Okay, so the actions we do to safeguard us from future risk. So there are many actions we do. So let's say for instance in the current scenario of lockdown, suddenly yesterday we've been told that, you know, we'll have a 7 days or 10 days of a strict lockdown curfew. Now what happens is people just started moving out on the roads, ensuring that they have no supplies in their house, right? Now, so these people are not properly insured about their home supplies. If somebody can foresee the risk, okay, if I can see there is a risk, I already know I'm into a situation wherein things are moving in this manner, I would obviously have ensured that I have supplies of 3, 4, 5 days. So the people who foresee that are always benefited. But we can see a majority of the people were out on road and they were buying things in a manner that, you know, that they were out of stock on everything. So even they would have things, they would have gone out. So insurance is basically foreseeing a further risk and ensuring or taking care that you are covered from that risk. You know, we always say that जब you know पानी पे दीवार बांधना, you know, so when there is a river you need to build a wall before the monsoon, because, you know, if you build the wall during the monsoon, then the wall will not control the water of the lakes. So if to save your village, आपको अपने गांव को बचाना है, तो गांव के आसपास की दीवार रिवर साइड की monsoon के पहले ही बना के रखनी है, and that is kind of the concept of insurance. So if we go into the history, you know, in fact I also did not knew about the mentioning of the concept of insurance into the Manusmriti and Kautilya, which is Arthashastra by Chanakya. But thanks to, you know, the insurance IRDA website, that they have very nicely articulated that it was this. So, you know, I can very specifically talk about Kautilya and Arthashastra. So Kautilya, it has very specifically stated that, you know, the state or the king, it used to take it used to always take taxes from the people. So tax system used to be there in our country since years. So India was one of the first countries to implement taxes since Chanakya. So whatever produce or whatever you do, a part of that was taken by the king as a tax, and in return the king used to ensure the safety security of the citizens, and ensure that the proper infrastructure is built by the king. But there was another concept by into Kautilya, which states that, you know, the king or the rajya or the kingdom used to keep a part of the supply for emergency. Now at that point of time, you know, we had lot of floods, or at times famines, or at times epidemic like COVID-19 used to also happen, that, you know, there used to be some medical emergency which used to flow. We saw plague in the current. So in the past we have a lot of things which have come in our country in the history. So during these times, whatever is the wealth of the kingdom, a part of that wealth in terms of food, in terms of money, was always kept aside as a pool of resources for the people in times of an emergency. So that was a kind of a insurance. Because I'm paying certain amount to the king or the kingdom, they were keeping a part of my amount which I was paying to ensure that I was safety during the tough times. If we talk in terms of the trade, India had a very long trade history. Okay, so it's been said from Harappan civilization, we have been trading with the world. So during that period of time, there were a lot of things, you know, like there were small associations of traders. So let's say I had a ship, we had ships of spices and gems and a lot of things which were moving from our part to the other parts of the world. So there were this small association of merchants who were doing this trade. Now there was huge risk going to the sea, because, you know, it used to take so many years to go to from you know, when the ship starts from our shore, it goes to America, or Europe, it delivers the product, and then they would again fill up the stocks of the ship, and they would then come back with a filled ship, and they would again trade. So these traders had a very long life on the sea, and it was very risky. So these people used to contribute a small amount and create a pool among the traders, that in case anything happens to a trader, maybe he loses his ship or maybe he dies, then that amount from that pool of funds would be distributed to that member if he has lost his goods, or if he has done anything, or if he has lost his life. And this was the concept of insurance at that period of time. It was not organized, it was not formal, it was not taken care by a particular rule of a land or a law, but this was the way it was happened. And this is seen similar from, it started in England in the formal manner, because once the East India Company started expanding their business over the world, they started coming up with this concept of insurance, specifically marine contracts, because marine is transportation of goods via sea. So England was somebody who actually formalized insurance in the world, and it started formalizing insurance and giving it to the world in a formal manner, because wherever it used to go, each countries, we all know that it almost was ruling half of our world. So wherever it went and formalized the concept of insurance and started there. In India specifically, the first company could be 1818, when Oriental Life Insurance came, and then somehow it could not work. But in 1870s, the British established an act to regulate insurance, and they came up with three insurance companies: Bombay Mutual, Oriental, and Empire of India. And these three companies were under the law of the British Insurance Act. Then there were a lot of companies which came, go, and here and there. But the turning point of India post independence, the most important thing was 1956, when we nationalized the entire insurance. So nationalization of insurance, we all know post independence we had nationalization of banks, nationalization of insurance, nationalization of a lot of industries. So India was among the very few countries who nationalized everything during and post independence. We had the government company manufacturing steel, we had the government company manufacturing copper, manufacturing coal, manufacturing energy, manufacturing gas. So we nationalized everything, and there was rarely any space for the privatization. The privatization movement in India happened post 1991, which is after LPG. And after that, only a lot of private insurance companies could operate in India. We also saw that in mutual fund that it was post 1993, most of private insurance companies, private mutual fund companies could operate. So in 1956, LIC was established and it absorbed around 154 Indian, 16 non-Indian insurance and 75 provident societies, and this all came into it, and LIC had the monopoly. Even today we can see LIC has the largest number of insurance sales in India. I will also complement that with the numbers. So this is about insurance history. If you talk of types of insurance, so they are basically into two parts: life and non-life. So technically it is life insurance and non-life insurance, but non-life is also termed as general insurance in the current scenario, because it's general. Something life is very specific, so life insurance is a specific insurance which covers the risk of your life, and general is generic for anything and everything. So in the world we have insurance for so many things. We have travel insurance. So even nowadays we can see the micro level of insurance is, if I'm traveling from Ahmedabad to Mumbai in a flight, then they have an insurance for that flight coverage, which is just 45 minutes of flight. They also have a train, so IRCTC is compulsory giving an insurance on each ticket I buy. So even I'm traveling from Ahmedabad to Baroda, I'll have myself an insurance which would cover the risk during the time of travel. So it's a very smart move by the Indian Railways. What used to happen is, whenever a railway mishap or a railway accident used to happen, then the railways and the government had to pay a lot amount of money to the kins of the people who lost their lives. Now this kind of accidents are always unfortunate, but what they have started doing is they have started roping in private insurance companies to insure the passengers. So in case of a mishap happens, then they would obviously get 10 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees on the premium, on the insurance coverage only. So these are the type of insurance. We will discuss briefly about them in the further statement. Then comes an important part of it is called IRDAI, which is the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Now IRDAI is basically the apex body for insurance. It regulates the entire insurance business in India, be it life, be it non-life. It lays down the rules and procedures to start a new insurance company, to run an insurance company, what all disclosure insurance companies you can make, how people can sell insurance in India. It certifies the people or agents to sell insurance in India. So if I want to sell insurance, life insurance specifically, I have to clear a IRDA exam, and then only, and it's a tough exam, it's not an easy exam. So I had given that couple of years ago, and it's really tough. So it promotes that. It is also one of the body which ensures to promote insurance in India, that it is also taking care of regulation, and it is also promoting, and it sets the rules for each and every company to run. Now you can easily understand this from their mission statement: to protect the interest of the policy holders. So whenever we say policy holders, it means the people who have paid insurance premium and who have, so the document, basically the document which talks about the insurer and the premium, risk coverage and everything, is called the policy document, and it's called a insurance policy. And an insurance policy, if you have any insurance in your family, just see the insurance document. It is a fantastic document to learn. It runs to 7, 8, 10 pages, but if you just read it in detail, each and every clause and condition, you will come to know that it is such a well drafted agreement and a well drafted document. I would suggest, in the project you guys are doing, you should read certain policies issued by various companies and specifically get into the terms and conditions, because if you learn the terms and conditions, you understand the product in the best possible manner. And that is what we normally try to do when we were reading a mutual fund scheme or a fact sheet. The objective of reading that was to understand what the product is. We can understand the product best in that manner. It also says it is set, promote, monitor and enforce high standards of integrity, financial soundness, fair dealing in to those it regulates, to take action where such standards are inadequate. So it if you just brief it, it's something which ensures that the rights of the policyholders are ensured. It ensures that the companies into the insurance sector are following all the rules. If they don't follow the rules, they will also take some action against them. And also they should ensure that more and more people get insured. See, insurance industry is largely less penetrated. So IRDAI comes up with a fantastic annual report which is like 100 or 150 pages. It's not come up with the 2020 report yet, so I have taken the 2019 report, and I would appreciate if everybody reads this report. It is a very good document. I normally read it couple of times to stay updated, to talk on this whenever I get an opportunity. So thankfully I'm talking on this after a good time. So if you just look at the insurance penetration, now what does penetration means? That compared to the population of a country, what is the percentage of population which is having insurance or which is having access to insurance? So if we see, the green lines are the non-life, red lines are the life insurance, and this is the total. So Taiwan has the maximum insurance coverage, but again if you see, the maximum is around 22 to 23%. So only 22 to 23% of Taiwan is covered with life and this thing. If you talk of Hong Kong, South Africa, let's talk on the developed countries. Let's talk on Japan. So see, Japan, it is less than 10% overall. Okay, and even the life is this, and the general is very less. Let's go in the countries like United States. In United States, we can see very interesting that the non-life insurance is higher, life insurance is less, but and which increase the total coverage. So in US, it's compulsory to have an insurance on everything. So you have health insurance which covers even your dental problems. So in India, the health insurance doesn't cover my dental problems. So अगर मुझको दांत में कुछ करवाना है, it is not been covered. It doesn't cover my spectacles. So in US, the insurance also covers that I can buy 2 pairs of spectacles in case of any issue. So in US, everything is governed by everything has a general insurance. Buying a house is compulsory insurance. The loan on the insurance loan also has an insurance on it. So there it is very interesting, and it has very different kinds of products. I'll give you an example. I could not find that poster. In certain parts of the world where kidnapping, okay, so let's say in certain parts of Africa, kidnapping is very common. People are kidnapped and they're asked for ransoms. So there is a product on the kidnapping also, that in case you get kidnapped, then this insurance will pay the ransom. So there are very crazy and interesting products in insurance which goes around the world. Now let's see where the world stands for. So in the world, the average is around 7 to 8%, life is around 5%, and this is there. But if we talk of India, India is below 5% vis-a-vis the population. And the reason we need to understand this is because of the potential this product has, and the potential insurance has to grow in India. Just imagine if we even grow by 10% in the terms of insurance growth. Imagine the number of people you can cover. If you grow by 10%, you can cover 10 crore people in a year. Then if you can come with 10 crore new policies a year, imagine the number of people who get employment, the number of money which comes as a savings into the economy. So it's an interesting thing in India, and so India is a huge thing into it. And we all know, see, Pakistan, it always remains in this part, and I am sure it's very difficult for them to not find a place into this spate. Okay, so it's really funny whenever we see that, but yes, that's the fact with numbers. Now this is something in detail from year 2001 till 2018. Again, from the report I have taken this. So this is the penetration thing, and we can see the rate it is increasing. right? So this is per density is in how much population. If we divide the total premiums collected across India, then what is the amount of premium per person per year? So let's say India has collected overall whatever is the density. If all the insurance companies in total have collected 100 rupees as premium and our population is 100, then the density is 1 rupee per population. So that's just for an assumption. When we compare this to other countries, we are very low. Okay, penetration is already low, but apart from penetration, this is also low. So we are like 1/3 of most of the companies in terms of the spending on insurance. That's what we come across. If we talk of the non-life, this is again the issue. This number would drastically change because now we have the two-wheeler which is going to be mandatory. On the other hand, the health insurance is going to be big time going ahead. People would surely go with a health insurance. So this penetration is just this percent. So out of 125 crores, these are the number of penetration of people who are buying insurance. And we all know with these numbers, it's encouraging to see that we can have a huge opportunity in terms of insurance. And if we talk on the number of insurance companies in India, there's only one public life company which we all know is the Life Insurance Corporation. There are 23 private companies. General, there are 6 public, which includes the Oriental Life Insurance, the National Oriental not Life Insurance, Oriental General Insurance, National General Insurance, and there are 21 private companies like HDFC, Ergo, ICICI Prudential, Bajaj Alliance, and total are around 27. And standalone health, so these are the companies which are only and only offering health insurance. Like you have Apollo Munich Health Insurance, which is just into health. So if we see, we are hardly 50 companies in our country with a penetration of 3%. If we imagine a penetration of 10% even in insurance, we can see this to be around 100 companies in India. And with the recent norms, I will just talk it in the end, but in the recent changes in the norms, the government have allowed FDI up to a larger extent in insurance companies of India. So we can see a lot of companies coming. We recently saw Nippon, which is a Japanese company, increasing its stake in the Reliance Insurance. So Reliance and Nippon had a joint venture. As per the old laws, the Indian company had to be a majority shareholder and the foreign direct investor could not be a majority shareholder. But as per the recent regulations in the last 1 year, a foreign partner or the foreign company can have larger and a majority stake into the insurance company now via FDI. So we just saw Nippon completing that, and now it's been, the Reliance has been named as Reliance. Nippon is now named as Nippon because Nippon is now the majority stakeholder. The same has happened in Tata. Tata has sold a larger stake to AIG, and we can see a lot of things happening like this in the near future. If you look at the market share of companies in India, we can see the blue line is the LIC. This is the private and this is the overall industry. So we can see LIC and the gap between the LIC and the private, it's a huge gap, and which is here simple. See the total premium which has been collected, we can see only one company and this is another 23 companies. Okay, so LIC is still the undoubted monopolistic kind of player into the life insurance, and this is about private. Again, if you look into the things, a new business, so the new premium which is collected, it still has the largest number of premium which it is collecting. Now let's come to the types of life insurance. So these are based on, like we had mutual fund schemes, the concept is the same. In life insurance, it would cover your life. Okay, so the coverage is your life. If anything happens to your life, then the insurance company will cover that and it will pay you for the same, and I will have to pay a premium for the same. We will just discuss on all of these at a later stage when we talk in detail about ULIP. This is the general insurance. So any insurance which is not related to health or not related to your life comes everything into general. It can be auto, home, health, fire, marine, aviation, accidental, cattle, everything. So in cattle you have cow insurances, you have insurance for your dogs, you have insurance for your cars, you have insurance for your commercial vehicles, you have insurance for your personal accident insurance called PA insurance. Aviation is for their flights, for their machine, for their stock, everything the organization has. If they get a fire, they get an insurance. So every kind of other product which can be covered. Nowadays we also have Bulgari insurance for my home, that in case there is a robbery happening in my house, I can save that. Nowadays they are also coming up with marriage insurances, that during there are certain products, like if I have a marriage and suddenly because of rain or uncertain things it has happened, then it will go. Recently we are seeing the COVID-19 coverage insurances are becoming very famous. So this is about general insurance. Now see, we have to pay a certain premium amount to get the benefit of the insurance. So what are the factors that impact this premium amount? So first is the age. So what age you are buying the insurance, okay, impacts the your income, because based on your income you will be able to pay a certain premium, and that will help us understand, or that will help the insurance company understand what is the risk. So see, insurance is a very structured and systematic product. How could I come to know that I would need 1 crore rupees, or I need a coverage of 1 crore rupees, or I need a coverage of 10 lakh rupees, or I need a coverage of 50 lakh rupees? So the entire process of identifying the actual value which I need for my insurance, identifying what is the risk of my life, identifying the risk of my product or risk of my business, and then suggesting a premium to me, and then giving me the coverage for that amount. This is what the insurance business is all about. If we say what a bank does, then a bank does is it accepts the deposits and it gives the loan, and the spread is what the money they make. Similarly, if I talk of insurance, insurance is something which would assess the risk, it would cover the risk, and if the risk happens, it would pay the amount for the risk coverage. So the entire business of insurance runs on a term called actuary science. Okay, actuary science is largely statistics, very high level of statistics, which includes a lot of probability. So insurance is based on a lot of probability and a lot of past data. So insurance company or a actuary manager, like we have the chief investment officer in a mutual fund or a portfolio manager, somebody who manages largely insurance portfolio and the premium and other things, called an actuary manager. He would come to know that a certain, let's say a person with the age of 30, who is married, who has one kid, who has his own house, who has his parents alive, who has a stable job, who is a postgraduate in terms of education, who needs to travel a lot because of his business, or who drinks a lot, who is an active smoker, and this kind of a person has a higher risk of life as compared to another person who has his small shop, his own house, doesn't travel a lot, do not eat more outside, he is really healthy and does not smoke or drink. This set of person has less risk of his life than as compared to the person A which I suggested. So the actuary manager has the probability of the data, and it studies a lot of data. It studies the data of life expectancy, the mortality rate of various regions. Even in India, say the mortality rate of somebody in Ahmedabad and the mortality rate of somebody in Rajkot is different. So an insurance company or the actuary manager has to take everything into consideration before, it's a proposal. So whenever you go for an insurance, the first there will be a proposal which will be given to you, that this is the proposal, insurance company will demand this premium from you, you will have to pay this premium on regular basis, and based on this proposal we will give you a insurance coverage of this amount under these conditions, and these are the terms and conditions. If you are okay with the proposal, accept the proposal, pay the premium, then we will approve your policy. So this is the process in which a insurance policy is issued. It's just not like that कि मुझे लेना है मेरे को इंश्योरेंस दे दो और इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बोलेगी हाँ ले जाओ इंश्योरेंस. It doesn't happen in that. In life insurance there is always a proposal which is given based on your health assessment. Also the actuary manager or the insurance company, if required, they will do a complete health test or a health checkup of you before deciding the premium. So let's say for instance I have a term plan. I'll just explain on what term plan, other things. I have a plan for 1 crore rupees. So when the insurance company is taking a risk to pay me 1 crore if anything happens to my life, it would ensure that it takes all the proper measure. So it took my entire body checkup. Based on my body checkup, they would decide on my age, BMI, which is body mass index, the blood reports, the urine report. You take everything into consideration, my lifestyle, my age, my income, my liability, the time I want, my coverage. It will then give me a proposal that boss, see, we can give you 1 crore risk coverage. Your premium would be this amount. So let's say for instance the person who is who smokes and the person who does not smoke. This is very important in terms of life insurance. If I am a non-smoker, I have to pay a premium of, let's say my age is 35 and I'm going for a 1 crore rupees of insurance. The premium would be around 20,000 if I'm a non-smoker. If somebody who smokes, the premium is 40,000 rupees, almost the double. So that is a very important aspect, because the risk of life of somebody who smokes is higher than the risk of life who doesn't smoke. So financially also non-smoking helps a lot. There are a lot of people who smoke, your age, it happens. So this is from the insurance perspective. Also financial health perspective, non-smoking helps. So these are the factors which would impact the premium of a life insurance. If you have to go for a life insurance. In general insurance, the value of coverage is always fixed, because general life is something which is uncertain. The products are certain. The products and the things, non-life things, come with a price tag. My TV comes with a price tag, my scooter comes with a price tag, my car comes with a price tag, house comes with a price tag. So it is very easy to assess the amount of risk coverage which an insurance company has to do. Wherein in life it is very difficult. So in life, these are the various factors based on which the premium is impacted, and the key person who takes care of all these things is called the actuary manager. So if somebody is very good into finance, like you to go for CFA or chartered accountancy or ICWA, the Institute of Actuary Managers also offer such kind of exams. IRDA also offers such kind of exams. There is level 1, level 2. So if every insurance company who need to have an actuary manager should compulsory have somebody certified or who should have been cleared these exams. So if you study this and you are interested and you're very good at numbers, specifically statistics, and you love data, you should go for that kind of certifications, and it is a very well paying job. Now why should I buy a life insurance? We saw the penetration is very low. Now life insurance is a must because inflation we just saw. Now let's say for instance you are earning 25,000 rupees today, but when you would retire or when you would go above 50, the capacity of earning goes down. But the inflation, because of the inflation, the value of money, which we say, is also going down. All of you would have studied time value of money and the concept of annuity. So insurance is basically the way calculation of insurance premium and calculation of return on insurance is basically done with the help of annuity. We all know the present value and the future value, which we say net present value, and we have to find the future value. So let's say for instance if I pay a premium of 10,000 rupees every year for the next 30 years and I have an indicative return of 5%, what is the amount which I will get after 30 years? That is easy to find a future value, right, based on whatever you've learned. So that's a realistic concept of time value, net present value, IRR, and your future value, which is directly here. Okay, and all like lump sum amount future value and annuity future value, because we pay premium on every year. So annuity future value is perfect applicable and is used in practical thing in a life insurance things. Now coming to the types of life insurance. So life insurance, the objective of life insurance is coverage of my life. If anything happens to my life, then it has to be covered by the insurance company. So if I'm paying premium, so as I said, I have a 1 crore term plan, and if I unfortunately die during the tenure of the insurance policy, and if I'm regularly paying the premiums, then the insurance company has the liability to pay 1 lakh rupees to the nominee whom I had stated after I pass on. So that kind of is the coverage of a insurance policy. Now let's come to the term plan. So the most basic thing of an insurance is coverage. Okay, they have to cover my life. So if they cover my life, I have to pay a premium. So the most basic kind of a policy, life insurance policy, and should be the most popular if you are into finance and if you understand finance. Term plan means, as the term suggests, term plan is for a particular period of time. So let's say for instance companies would offer it for a certain period of time. So in that period of time I have to regularly pay my premium. So let's say I take a term plan for 50 years from now. Okay, so we can see here the maximum policy tenure. So let's say the policy tenure is 50 year, which means I have to pay this premium every year for 50 years. Okay, I will be paying this amount of premium for 50 years, and during these 50 years, okay, during these 50 years, if I unfortunately die, then the insurance company will pay me 1 crore rupees, and if I don't die, I will get nothing. समझ रहे हो? अगर मेरी लाइफ को कुछ होता है ड्यूरिंग द टर्म ऑफ द पॉलिसी, and if I am regularly paying my annual premium, if anything happens to my life, तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मुझे 1 करोड़ रुपीस देगा. और अगर मुझे कुछ नहीं होता है और 50 साल ख़त्म होने के बाद भी ऑफ द पॉलिसी टर्म आई एम हेल्दी एंड आई एम लिविंग, आई विल गेट नथिंग. सो दिस अमाउंट एवरी ईयर फॉर 50 years वुड बी गॉन. आई विल गेट नो रिटर्न ऑन इट. ओके, दिस इज कॉल्ड टर्म प्लान, और ये सबसे लॉजिकल है because term plan are the perfect plan for coverage of my risk. ठीक है, इसमें रिस्क कवरेज ही है, ओनली एस्पेक्ट इज रिस्क कवरेज. सो इफ यू सी डिजिटल टर्म प्लान्स मीन्स ऑनलाइन अगर आप टर्म प्लान बाय करते हो तो फिजिकल जो आप एजेंट से टर्म प्लान बाय करते हो उससे काफ़ी सस्ता होता है. व्हेन यू बाई इट फ्रॉम अ एजेंट देन द टर्म प्लान इज़ वेरी कॉस्टली. अगर यही LIC का 1 करोड़ का टर्म प्लान आप अपने एजेंट को पूछोगे ना, तो इसका प्रीमियम 35,000 से 40,000 अ ईयर है, जबकि ऑनलाइन इट इज़ वेरी चीप. द रीज़न बीइंग हियर द कमीशन पेड टू द एजेंट इज़ नॉट देयर. कमीशंस आर पेड हैवी, कमीशन ऑफ अराउंड 15%, 12 to 15% इन टर्म प्लान. सो टर्म प्लान इज़ द प्लेन वेनिला इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट कि मुझे हर साल पैसा देना है, टर्म के लिए देना है. अगर उस समय में मुझे कुछ होता है तो मेरा जितना भी इंश्योरेंस कवरेज है वो मुझे मिलेगा, और अगर मुझे कुछ नहीं होता है तो ये पैसा मुझे भूल जाना है. आई विल नॉट गेट एनीथिंग इन रिटर्न, राइट. सो इफ यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस एन इलस्ट्रेशन, एंड हियर दे हैव स्टेटेड दिस इज फॉर 30-year-old male who is a non-smoker who is living in a metro and the policy term is 30 years. It is for 1 crore, right. So 1 crore का इंश्योरेंस. These are the insurance companies. These are the online name of the online plans. This is the maximum policy, maximum year. So they are giving for 50 साल तक का. तो अगर मैं 30 years का हूँ तो 80 years तक मैं ले सकता हूँ. सबसे ज़्यादा एगॉन, अभी भारतीय अक्सा हैव कम अप विद अ पॉलिसी टर्म प्लान ऑफ 100 years. तो तुम 100 years तक का पॉलिसी प्लान ले सकते हो. तो अगर मेरा 30 का एज है तो मैं 130 साल तक तो जीने नहीं वाला हूँ, पर अगर मुझे कवरेज लेना है तो मैं ले सकता हूँ. सो दिस इज़ बेसिकली टर्म प्लान. अगर इस टर्म प्लान में मैं चेंज करता हूँ कि मैं ये जो प्रीमियम दे रहा हूँ, मुझे अगर 50 साल के बाद कुछ नहीं होता है, अगर मुझे 50 साल के बाद कुछ नहीं होता है, तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मुझे जितना भी प्रीमियम कलेक्ट किया है उसने, जो होगा 10,148 इफ़ यू टॉक ऑन दी एन्यूटी टर्म्स। तो मैंने जितना भी प्रीमियम दिया है उसके ऊपर एक्स परसेंटेज रिटर्न के साथ मुझे वो पूरा पैसा वापस दे देंगे, तो उसको बोलते हैं एंडोवमेंट प्लान। ओके, एंडोवमेंट प्लान इज यू हैव द कवरेज ऑफ द इंश्योरेंस प्लस यू ऑल्सो हैव द ऑप्शन ऑफ मनी बैक, कि अगर 50 साल के टर्म ख़त्म होने के बाद भी मैं ज़िंदा रहता हूँ, मुझे कुछ नहीं होता है, तो मैंने जितना भी प्रीमियम दिया है वो पूरा प्रीमियम मुझे वापस मिलेगा, प्लस मुझे एक सर्टन मैच्योरिटी के समय पे मैच्योरिटी बोनस भी मिलेगा। तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी वो पैसा मुझे रिटर्न कर देगी। उस केस में ये जो एनुअल प्रीमियम है, दिस प्रीमियम अमाउंट गोज़ अप। ओके, दिस प्रीमियम अमाउंट वुड बी ऑन दी हायर साइड because the insurance company also has to give you the money back. So you know they have to spend amount and spend some expenses to ensure your money is safe, and so the basic term plan plus the money back, that you get the money at the end of the term. 50 साल के पहले आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, पर ये आपको याद रखना है। अगर आप 1 साल या 2 साल कंटिन्यूस इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम पे नहीं करते हो तो आपको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिलता है। इंश्योरेंस में एक चीज़ सिंपल है कि अगर आप रेगुलर प्रीमियम भरोगे तो ही आपको बेनिफिट मिलेगा। अगर आपने प्रीमियम पे नहीं किया देन यू लूज आउट ऑन द बेनिफिट एज वेल एज द मनी यू हैव पेड। सो इफ़ यू हैव अ बेसिक टर्म प्लस यू हैव द मनी बैक ऑप्शन, यू हैव एन एंडोमेंट। एंडोमेंट के साथ अगर मैं ये भी जोड़ दूँ कि यार मुझे है ना, मेरा 50 साल का टर्म है पर मैं आपको हर महीने हर साल ये प्रीमियम दे रहा हूँ, तो मुझे हर 5 साल एक सर्टन अमाउंट वापस चाहिए। मनी बैक तो चाहिए, पर मनी बैक के साथ मनी बैक मुझे टर्म के एंड में नहीं चाहिए। आई वॉन्ट दी मनी बैक आफ्टर सर्टन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम विच इज़ आफ्टर 5 years और आफ्टर 10 years. So if you add that feature into a term plan, so term plan plus money back plus liquidity goes to kind of a money back policy, तो उसको money back policy कहा जाता है। Then if we say the whole life policy, तो होल लाइफ पॉलिसी का मतलब कि पूरी लाइफ जब तक मैं जीता हूँ तब तक कवरेज करेगा, तो वो होल लाइफ है। एंडोमेंट प्लान, टर्म प्लान प्लस मैच्योरिटी के बाद टर्म प्लान का पैसा इन प्रीमियम प्लस सम अमाउंट इज एंडोमेंट। एंडोमेंट प्लान में लिक्विडिटी के ऑप्शन के साथ होता है तो मनी बैक प्लान, राइट। आई होप दिस इज वेरी मच क्लियर। नाउ लेट्स कम टू यूलिप। सो यूलिप इज एन अनदर एडिशन टू इट। सो यूलिप मीन्स it has the life insurance coverage and also it has the feature of investment. Okay, so investment is something which is being added here. Now what you understand by investment, like we do in mutual fund, you know, you get an exposure to equity and you get exposure to debt. So your return, so when we say money back and the endowment plans, वहाँ पे आपको रिटर्न जो मिलता है ना वो लिमिटेड मिलता है। लिमिटेड का मतलब आपको आपके प्रीमियम के पैसों के अलावा 8% या 9% या 10% ऐसा पैसा आपको एडिशनल मिलेगा पोस्ट ऑन योर मैच्योरिटी। लेकिन अगर मुझे ज़्यादा रिटर्न चाहिए, ठीक है, तो मेरे पास क्या ऑप्शन है? तो आपके पास ऑप्शन है यूलिप प्लान। सो यूलिप प्लान is basically a life insurance which is it has the coverage, the most important thing, plus it has an investment goal. तो आप अगर जो भी प्रीमियम दे रहे हो तो उस प्रीमियम की अमाउंट में से आपका लाइफ कवरेज का अमाउंट को अलग रखा जाएगा। एक अमाउंट होगा जो लाइफ कवरेज में जाएगा और बाकी का जो अमाउंट है उसको इंश्योरेंस कंपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी के हिसाब से इन्वेस्ट करेगी, लाइक वी डू इन म्यूचुअल फंड्स। 65 इन इक्विटी, 35 इन डेप्ट, 40 इन डेप्ट, 16 इन इक्विटी, ऐसे अलग अलग इन्वेस्टमेंट सिनारियो से वो करेंगे। नाउ हाउ डज यूलिप हेल्प? तो यूलिप बेसिकली लोग करते हैं या तो अपने रिटायरमेंट प्लानिंग के लिए या तो अपने चाइल्ड एजुकेशन के लिए या वेल्थ। सो यू नो काफ़ी बार हुआ होगा कि आपके पेरेंट्स ने LIC का कोई प्लान लिया है जिसका मैच्योरिटी आप 21 ईयर्स के हो रहे हो तब हो रहा है, या आपके फैमिली ने कोई इंश्योरेंस का पॉलिसी लिया है आपके लिए कि आप जब मैरिज की एज के होते हैं तब आपको वो पैसा मिलता है। सो दैट इज़ बेसिकली बेस्ड ऑन दी मैच्योरिटी। सो दैट इज़ पीपल आर इन्वेस्टिंग, they are basically not ensuring or they are not giving the premium to cover your risk, they are giving the premium to or investing to meet the future expenses. तो जब हम हमारे फ्यूचर एक्सपेंसेस को मीट करने के लिए, इन्वेस्टमेंट गोल्स के लिए इंश्योरेंस के साथ हमको इन्वेस्टमेंट गोल करना है, तो हम उसको यूलिप बोलते हैं. वी ऑल नो the various aspects based on which investments can be done. So the investment idea, and that investment idea with the life coverage or with the coverage of risk is called a ULIP. So basically अगर मुझे 1 करोड़ का इंश्योरेंस लेना है तो मेरा लाइफ का कवरेज भी 1 करोड़ का रहेगा. अगर मैं मरता हूँ तो 1 करोड़ तो मिलने ही वाला है, पर साथ साथ में मेरा इन्वेस्टमेंट का ऑब्जेक्टिव भी हो जाएगा. सो इट इज़ अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रोडक्ट जहाँ पे 2 ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को मिला के एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया गया है. एंड दैट इज़ वाई यूलिप्स हैव बिकम वेरी पॉपुलर. बहुत अच्छा है कि आपको कोई बात करने आता है तो बोले सर देखो, आपको अगर कुछ हो जाता है तो भी आपको कवरेज तो है ही, और अगर आपको कुछ नहीं होता है तो आपने जो पैसा हमको दिया है उसका हम आपको बेस्ट रिटर्न देंगे. और यूलिप्स हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ the kind of investment funds they have. So यूलिप में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि यू हैव द ऑप्शन ऑफ स्विचिंग योर फंड्स. तो आपको अगर लगता है कि मार्केट्स बहुत डाउन जा रहा है तो आपके पास ऑप्शन है कि आप आपके इक्विटी में से डेप्ट वाले फंड में स्विच कर दो, या कभी लगता है मार्केट्स अभी बढ़ने वाला है तो आप डेप्ट में से इक्विटी में स्विच कर दो. तो ये साल में हर एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, हर एक यूलिप प्लान has, every ULIP scheme has this option wherein you can do 2 alterations or 1 alterations every year. So it is very flexible, it is transparent, and it is clear structure that out of your 100 rupees, 20 rupees we will keep for your insurance coverage, 80 rupees we will invest in the market. In that 80 rupees which we are investing, we will invest 60% in equity, 40% in debt, similarly as we had for mutual funds. It also has the insurance cover, and these tulips are very interesting. They are made, custom made kind of a thing, that आपको अगर मंथली पे करना है आपका प्रीमियम, क्वार्टरली पे करना है, बाई एन्यूअली पे करना है, एन्यूअली पे करना है. काफ़ी प्रोडक्ट्स तो सिंगल प्रीमियम भी है कि अगर लेट्स से फॉर इंस्टेंस मैंने घर बेचा और घर बेच के मेरे पास काफ़ी 3-4 करोड़ रुपए आए हैं, तो मैं एक साथ यूलिप में 1 करोड़ रुपए डाल दूंगा. ठीक है, वन टाइम इंश्योरेंस. सो वन टाइम लमसम में 1 करोड़ रुपए डाल दूंगा, तो मेरे को ये लोग, मैं जीऊँगा तब तक, अगले 50 साल तक मेरे को लाइफ कवर भी देंगे, और प्लस ये 1 करोड़ के ऊपर मुझे म्यूचुअल फंड की तरह इक्विटी, डेप्ट, ये वो में इन्वेस्ट करने के बाद रिटर्न भी मिलेगा. सो यूलिप का भी NAV होता है, नेट असेट वैल्यू, लाइक म्यूचुअल फंड में उसका भी पोर्टफोलियो होता है, सिमिलरली लाइक अ म्यूचुअल फंड. उसका भी इन्वेस्टमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी होता है, सिमिलरली लाइक टू अ म्यूचुअल फंड. They also have a fund manager, and the assets which they manage are also called assets under management in ULIP plans. Right, so it has a lot of products. So उन्होंने बहुत कस्टमाइज़ किया है, क्योंकि वो सब पूल, जितना भी पैसा अलग अलग यूलिप्स में से आता है, दे पूल एंड दे इन्वेस्ट ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑल द यूलिप्स. सो आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. LIC इज़ द बिगेस्ट इन्वेस्टर इन द स्टॉक मार्केट. LIC के पास HDFC से लेके कोई भी बड़ी कंपनी का नाम लो, वो सबके 1% से लेके 3%, 4% तक के शेयर्स LIC होल्ड करता है. सो LIC आपको जो भी रिटर्न देता है, अगर आपके पास आप सब टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी अभी जानते हो, तो अगली बार जब भी कोई LIC का एजेंट आपको कागज़ लेके बेचने आता है तो आप कैलकुलेट करना कि वो एक्चुअली रिटर्न क्या होता है. सो द नेट रिटर्न कम्स टू ऑलवेज 8 to 9%. ओके, इन एनी LIC स्कीम it never goes about 12%. They just come with illustrations, 8%, 9%, 12%, 12%, and it doesn't go above that. And LIC also, majority of them, they also have ULIP schemes wherein they collect the funds and they invest. So there are also, with additional charges, rider options. So riders in insurance concept, rider means additional conditions, ठीक है, और additional risk coverage. So rider means additional risk coverage apart from the basic things. So let's say for instance, मेरा लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का कवरेज है, उसमें मैं चाहता हूँ कि अगर मेरे को परमानेंट डिसेबिलिटी हो गया, ठीक है, अगर मेरे को परमानेंट डिसेबिलिटी हो गया तो भी आप मेरे को मेरा कवरेज चालू रखना चाहता हूँ मैं. सो दैट इज़ एन एडिशनल राइडर टू माई इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी. और इफ़ आई से दैट I want to add a rider that in case for 2 or 3 years I cannot pay the insurance, then also it can go. So anything which is above the basic thing, it can always be added. There is complete flexibility in ULIP. and that is why ULIPs are very popular. And another thing why they are popular is there is a huge insurance agents network. तो इतने सारे इंश्योरेंस बेचने वाले लोग हैं कि दे हैव अ लार्जर रीच टू द ऑडियंस रादर देन इफ़ यू कंपेयर इट टू द म्यूचुअल फंड. वी विल जस्ट टॉक ऑन दैट ऑल्सो. बट म्यूचुअल फंड बेचने वाले लोगों का रीच और इंश्योरेंस बेचने वालों का रीच बहुत ज़्यादा है कंपेयर टू म्यूचुअल फंड्स. एंड सो दिस यूलिप्स आर सोल्ड very easily as compared to mutual funds, though the assets under management in ULIP is very low. क्योंकि अगर कोई लॉजिकल बंदा है और अगर फिनेंस जानता है, सो लेट्स से आई वुड नेवर पुट माई सिंगल रुपी इन यूलिप और आई विल नेवर लेट माई फैमिली पुट अ सिंगल रुपी इनटू यूलिप इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, बिकॉज इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस का ऑब्जेक्टिव है रिस्क कवरेज, ना कि इन्वेस्टमेंट करना. पर यूलिप में ऐसा हो रहा है कि यूलिप के प्रोडक्ट से इंश्योरेंस कंपनी भी इन्वेस्टमेंट का धंधा कर रही है. So they are clubbing two objectives. And so my personal advice is, if you want to invest, don't go into ULIP. If you want to invest, go into anything else but ULIP. Risk coverage, you should have a term plan only. Now let's compare some ULIP plans. Okay, so these are some plans which I have taken. See, ULIP plans में ना थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है इसका कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर, कि इसमें ना जो अलग अलग तरह के कॉस्ट होते हैं वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होते हैं. सो वो आपसे एक अमाउंट का प्रीमियम लेगा, आपको सबसे कम लाइफ कवरेज देगा. मैं आपको तो लेट्स टॉक ऑन दिस एंड लेट्स टॉक ऑन सर्टन एस्पेक्ट्स, यू नो. सो इन दिस प्रीमियम ऑफ 50,000 एवरी ईयर आपका कवरेज हार्डली 10 लाख रुपीज़ का होगा. आपका रिस्क कवरेज जो आपका लाइफ का कवरेज है वो हार्डली 10 लाख रुपीज़ होता है इन अ प्रीमियम ऑफ अराउंड 50,000. ओके, नॉट मोर देन 10 और 15 लैक्स, मैक्स टू मैक्स 15 to 20 लैक्स में ये प्रीमियम पे आपका कवरेज होगा. और फिर आपके चार्जेस. सो दिस चार्जेस आर वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. सो 3 मेजर काइंड ऑफ चार्जेस विच अ यूलिप प्लान इज. दे चार्ज अ मोर्टेलिटी चार्ज. मोर्टेलिटी चार्ज का मतलब आपका जो लाइफ कवर दे रहे हैं ना, वो लाइफ कवरेज करने का चार्ज, दैट इज कॉल्ड मोर्टेलिटी चार्ज, विच इज़ नॉट स्टेटेड हियर बट इट इज़ बाई डिफॉल्ट. देन दे चार्ज 3% ऑफ सिंगल प्रीमियम. तो ये 50,000 रुपये का 3% तो आपका अलोकेशन चार्ज हो गया. प्रीमियम अलोकेशन चार्ज मतलब आपका जो फंड्स लिया वो फंड को मैं इन्वेस्ट करने वाला हूँ, उसका चार्ज मैं फ्लैट 3% हर एक प्रीमियम का लूँगा. तो आप इमेजिन करो इसके 3% यहाँ चले गए. प्लस आई विल चार्ज 45 पर मंथ, ओके, एज प्रीमियम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव चार्जेस विच कॉल्ड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव. 50 रुपीज़ तो 600 रुपीज़ अ ईयर हो गया. तो अगर आप इमेजिन करो कि 5,000 रुपीज़ का 600 रुपीज़, हाउ मच परसेंटेज इज देयर? अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 1 to 2%. सो यहाँ पे 4-5% हो गया. ना व्हाट इज़ फ्री स्विचेज? स्विचेज का मतलब कि आप इक्विटी में से डेप्ट में या डेप्ट में से इक्विटी में अगर आना चाहते हो तो आप कोई भी समय पे साल में 2 बार ये स्विच कर सकते हो. और 2 से ज़्यादा स्विच होता है तो वो हर एक स्विच का पैसा भी लेते हैं. नाउ लेट्स से अनदर मैक्स यहाँ पे 2% ऑफ सिंगल प्रीमियम टू 4% ऑफ एनुअल प्रीमियम प्लस 1,500 अ ईयर विच इज़ फ्लैट. तो आपका प्रीमियम कितना भी है ये ले लेंगे और 12 टाइम आपको स्विच करने का ऑप्शन दे रहे हैं. दिस इज़ 5%, जस्ट इमेजिन, प्लस 0.25 ऑफ एनुअल प्रीमियम, तो 5.25 हो गया. सो PNB का सबसे कम है पर एनम, मैक्सिमम बजाज इज द लोएस्ट. दे हैव सी एगॉन लाइफ का ये ऑनलाइन प्लान है. इट हैज़ नो प्रीमियम अलोकेशन चार्जेस. रीज़न बीइंग इनको कोई कमीशन ही नहीं देना है. अभी ये प्रीमियम अलोकेशन चार्ज इसलिए होता है कि इनको कमीशन देना होता है. नाउ लेट्स से फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर आप we'll just talk on that later on, we'll compare mutual funds and this. So if you look into everything, यहाँ पे उन्होंने दिया है which age you can enter and ये जो लास्ट है ये मिनिमम एज ऑफ एंट्री है, ये मैक्सिमम एज ऑफ एंट्री, कि 65 से ऊपर वाला इस फंड में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता है. और ये आप जब भी इन्वेस्ट करते हो तो इसमें यूलिप प्लान में एक चीज़ होता है कि आपका लॉक इन होता है कि 5 साल के पहले आप एक भी रुपये उठा नहीं सकते हो और 5 साल के बाद भी आप नहीं उठाओगे क्योंकि आपका पोर्टफोलियो में कोई रिटर्न ही नहीं होगा. सो टू गेट द बेस्ट बेनिफिट ऑफ रिटर्न यू शुड बी इन्वेस्टिंग इन यूलिप विद अ टेन्योर ऑफ 10 years एंड अबव ओनली. तो 10 साल के ऊपर अगर आप इन्वेस्ट करोगे ना तो आपका एवरेज रिटर्न 10-12% होगा, एल्स नहीं होगा, बिकॉज ऑफ द चार्जेस दे चार्ज. नाउ दिस हैज़ ऑल्सो कम डाउन.
अगर मैं 2-3 साल पहले की बात करूँ तो ये डबल डिजिट में था, 12% से 15% प्रीमियम अलोकेशन चार्ज लिया जाता था अलग अलग इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से, पर IRDA ने कंपलसरी इसको कम कर दिया, बिकॉज एल्स फिर लोग यूलिप में इन्वेस्ट कम करके बाकी इन्वेस्टमेंट में ज़्यादा करें। तो मेरे 100 रुपये में से 15 रुपये तो डायरेक्टली वो लोग प्रीमियम अलोकेशन चार्जेस में जा रहे थे। फिर पॉलिसी एडमिन चार्ज लेते थे, मोर्टेलिटी चार्ज होता था, तो अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 20 to 22% पैसा मेरा जो भी प्रीमियम का है वो तो उसी में जा रहा था, तो मेरा पोर्टफोलियो रिटर्न उतना नहीं दे पाता। So here are the few plans which are very popular. So I've taken the one which are very popular, and this is the switches, the admin charges, premium allocation charge, and this thing. Now let us take some examples. Okay, so I have taken a plan which is e-health plan of the SBI, and it has all the features like we discussed on the mutual fund. We will also understand how it happens, you know. So here are the features which they talk on: life insurance cover and returns. That is why it is a ULIP. ULIP is because of that. You can have automatic asset allocation, you can have growth and balanced. We all know what growth is and what is balanced. You can have exposure to equity, debt, money market during the policy term. Premium as low as 2000, which is 24,000 a year. No premium allocation charges because it's an online fund. Okay, because it's an online fund, there is no premium allocation charges. And see, all insurance policies get a benefit of 80C, which is among the 1.5 lakh rupees, and during the maturity also they get the benefit. Now see, this is the thing who can avail 5 to 50, maximum 60 years. मैक्सिमम पॉलिसी टर्म का मतलब कितने साल तुमको करना है, तो मिनिमम 10 साल और मैक्सिमम 30 साल तक आप भर सकते हो. यू कैन पे इट इधर ईयरली और मंथली. नाउ दिस इज मैक्सिमम एंड द मिनिमम यू हैव टू पे 24, एंड मैक्सिमम आपके पास जितना पैसा होगा वो ले लेंगे. Now here are the plan details which is important. If you talk of the growth policy, the equity exposure is higher and balanced. There is less of equity exposure and they are more on the debt and money market instruments, right? Now this is the way in the growth plan. If you go, okay, the first year it goes in this manner, second year, थर्ड ईयर, फोर्थ ईयर, फिफ्थ ईयर. सो इफ़ यू सी द फर्स्ट 5 years, तो पहले 5 साल में तो आपका इक्विटी का एक्सपोजर सिर्फ और सिर्फ 35-40% है. तो नॉर्मली अगर आप इस यूलिप प्लान को 10 साल के अंदर विड्रॉ करना चाहोगे तो आपका कोई रिटर्न ही नहीं होगा, क्योंकि 60% पैसा ही मैक्सिमम इक्विटी में जाएगा, बाकी बॉन्ड में और मनी मार्केट में जाएगा. 20% हमेशा मनी मार्केट में रहेगा, 40%. सो दिस इज देयर, you know, the ULIP का फंड मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रेटजीज आर वेरी डिफरेंट एंड यूनिक. सो दिस इज इन द ग्रोथ थिंग. तो आप ग्रोथ वाला प्लान ले रहे हो, उसमें भी आपका मैक्सिमम ये हो सकता है. और अगर आप 20 साल तक रुक रहे हो वहाँ पे आपको, सो यू नो, इफ़ यू टॉक ऑफ 65% एंड अबाउ, तो 10 साल के बाद फंड का कॉन्सेप्ट होगा कि वो मैक्सिमम 60% इक्विटी में डालें. जबकि अगर हम बाकी इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शंस की बात करें, फ्रॉम डे वन दे हैव दिस पॉलिसी. दिस इज द बैलेंस थिंग, right? So this is an equity fund. So in an equity fund, maximum 100%, 80. This is the same like mutual fund, if you can understand and recall things in the money market. So this is basically about the thing, and you can see the benefits, death benefits, higher of the or partial withdrawal, or 105% of the premiums up to the death. Now you know, you can see here they don't tell you that what is the actual life coverage you will have. What they are saying is, जितना आपने इंश्योरेंस पे किया है अभी तक, ठीक है, उसका 105% आपको मिल जाएगा. अगर आपने 10,000 रुपये पे किया है तो 10,000 प्लस 5% आपको मिलेगा एज अ डेथ कवरेज, विच मीन्स जब तक आप जितना पैसा पे करते जाओगे वैसे वैसे आपका कवरेज बढ़ता जाएगा और आपका रिटर्न पे भी इम्पैक्ट आ जाएगा. सो दिस इज़ वॉट वी से इलस्ट्रेशन. अगर आप 28 ईयर्स की एज पे डाल रहे हो 1 लाख रुपए का प्रीमियम करोगे तो आपका 10 लाख रुपीज़ का ही सम अश्योर्ड होगा, विच इज़ अगर आपको कुछ हो जाता है तो. सो आफ्टर 1 लाख फॉर 30 ईयर्स, फंड वैल्यू maturity 4% पे ये होगा 8%. This is again the annuity, you know, the future value of annuity which they have calculated. Now see, death benefit is just this at 4%. अगर आप इतने साल 20 साल के बाद मरते हो तो 20 लाख रुपए का प्रीमियम भरने के बाद आपको सिर्फ 25 लाख रुपए का डेथ बेनिफिट रहेगा और 8% पे 40 लाख का. उसके सामने आप इससे 50% से भी कम पैसा भर के 1 करोड़ का टर्म इंश्योरेंस ले सकते हो. नाउ नेट असेट वैल्यू इज अगेन द सेम वे इट इज़ कैलकुलेटेड एज इट इज़ कैलकुलेटेड इन म्यूचुअल फंड्स. नाउ लेट अस ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड वन मोर थिंग विच इज़ ऑफ यूलिट. एक और एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं विच ऑल्सो हैज़ द पोर्टफोलियो एंड अदर थिंग्स. So you know, as we have for mutual funds, the ULIPs also clearly mention about the portfolio they have. So this is the ULIP plan which they have said. This is the portfolio summary. Okay, equity, debt, others, a number of stocks, the scheme average cap, and this is the portfolio which they are having, the stocks in which they have invested. So it's interesting to see this product of ULIP because you know. If we talk of that, so it's basically a combination of life coverage and insurance, and it has a lot of customization. So because I've been investing a good amount of money, I would always see, and it is good that it has customization. So for the people who are not that risk averse or who cannot take a very higher risk and who are less risky people, they can go into investing into a ULIP because ULIP has lesser risk. Being promoted by an insurance company, so insurance companies normally have a very good track record of default, that they hardly default in the future. So it's a better way to invest in case you are a very risk averse person and you want the security of your funds, more security of the funds. You will get an average return of 8% to 12%, not more than that, after 20 years also. Now the most important thing is if I just understand the differentiation between ULIP and mutual fund. So mutual funds are 100% investment oriented. It doesn't give any insurance thing. Recently few companies started to add, mutual funds companies also started to add an insurance. So if you go with a SIP of a certain amount, then 10 times of the amount of your investment they were giving you a life coverage. So if I'm investing 25,000, then 2,50,000 is the life coverage which they were giving till the time I'm invested in the mutual fund. But that scheme did not work well to mutual funds. So mutual funds trying on insurance failed miserably and they could not do well. There were certain products started by Reliance Mutual Fund, Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, which could not hold ground and it missed. When we talk of ULIPs, so ULIPs have an investment objective and also have the objective of your life coverage. The lock-in period in mutual funds, we all know majority of them are open-ended, and in ELSS it's max 3 years, but in ULIP it is a minimum of 5 years. So 5 साल के पहले मैं पैसे उठा नहीं सकता हूँ और अगर उठाने जाता हूँ तो मुझे कुछ नहीं मिलता है. Cost, the mutual fund expenses are like 1% to 3%, wherein in ULIP we all saw that it ranges from 1 to 2% on online, 2 to 3% on offline. उसके अलावा they have the premium allocation charge, they have the policy administration fee, and they also have the mortality charges, which we were just talking of. Tax deductions, both have the tax benefits. In mutual fund only the ELSS funds have the tax benefit. In insurance, every insurance policy and every ULIP policy has a tax benefit. Also there is a long-term capital gain which is applicable to mutual funds now post 2018 budget and even to the stock markets. So that is about the mutual fund. But you know, I will give you an assignment if you all can do it on your Excel sheet or using your calculators or on your phones or on the formula of NAV or other things. That say there is one investor who invests 1 lakh rupees in mutual funds, okay, and he is invested for 20 years. You can see the average return of markets in 20 years, and then you have another person who is investing, or you can take any mutual fund scheme as a benchmark scheme who is 15 years old. So any mutual fund scheme which is a 15 years old history, start an SIP of 1000 rupees a month in that mutual fund scheme. Okay, so your annuity value per month is 1000 rupees for 15 years. Okay, and the return, you will take the benchmark return of that mutual fund scheme. Okay, so the benchmark return of 15 years of that mutual fund scheme is 15% or 17%. Take that and find the future value of that investment. On the other hand, and then once you find the future value, you have to deduct 1.5 to 2% as the, let's take 2% as the expenses, the expense of the AMC. So whatever return you get, deduct 2% as your expenses. Or else you can, what you can do is 1000 every year minus 2% whatever amount you get, 1000 every month minus 2% whatever you get annual basis, that amount the future annuity value. And second, you do an assignment wherein you take a ULIP plan with the similar 1000 rupees a month, expenses of around 6 to 7%, and the reference of the ULIP plan is 8% or 10%, and then come to know that what is a better investment option, right? So that would give you a clarity on what things are. You can take n number of mutual fund schemes, you can take n number of ULIP plans and have a long Excel sheet and compare as many things as possible, and it will be fun. And then find the average, right? So that you can do with the concepts which we have already studied in the finance. Now then, how is insurance sold in India, or we can say how is insurance distributed? We don't say insurance sales, we say insurance distribution. So there is life insurance company, their distribution channels like direct and indirect. Direct is done by their agent, by their employees, and online, like mutual funds. Here also they are doing in the similar manner like that, but the strength here is the individual agents. There are so many insurance agents, and specifically LIC agents. So whenever we talk to any LIC individual, everybody wants more and more agents in their kitty, so LIC agents are the strong pillar of insurance sales in India. You also have a lot of corporate agents like Landmark Insurance or Prudent, or many other companies are doing a lot of the insurance in corporate. So they are companies who are with the focus of selling insurance. The brokers, the banca assurance is the banks have a tie-up with insurance in sales, like Axis Bank has a tie-up with Max New York in selling Max life insurance via Axis Bank is called banca assurance. And web aggregators are online which are happening in the current scenario. Future of insurance in India, we all know that because of the current COVID thing, I'm sure a huge spike we will see in the health insurance thing. Because of the legal things, we will see the motor and third party going up. Life insurance is always going to go up with the reason of being increasing income, the awareness happening in people, the urbanization, the millennials into the work, generation Z into the work, the average salary of people going up, the lifestyle. Very important is the lifestyle what people are doing. So I see a lot of people who smoke regularly and they say it's okay if I pay more premium, but I will not stop smoking. So there are a lot of things in that manner, and so there is a huge growth of life insurance which we see happening in the current times, and it will go up, right? So the future of insurance is high. We all know the penetration of insurance, which is 3%, and so going forward, even if it on a conservative basis grow by 10-15% CAGR, we have a very high cap of reaching to the higher end, and so the insurance has a very strong future in India, and it also offers a lot of opportunity for people into the career into the insurance in India. So I hope you liked the entire discussion on insurance, and this is all about insurance. We tried to touch all the various aspects of insurance, went in detail about ULIP, the charges in ULIP, the investment strategies in ULIP, and how ULIP is being taken care of. So thanks a lot for the same.